Welcome back to this series, as I try to find my personal favorite top 5 mechanically and narratively dense creatures of each level. As we climb the ladder of more challenging monsters, what makes a creature stand out above the rest is subjective to the GM and the setting. I strive to find the entities that impact far beyond the creature's difficulty compared to the player's level, whether you are level 5, 10, 15, or even 20. The goal is to find things that could still find relevance to your story. Out of the 155 entities within the level 2 range, I had the 5 I selected, and this time, 2 runner-ups who just barely didn't make the cut. So why don't you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't, sit back, relax as I regale you with my top 5 level 2 creatures. In 5th place, we find the Gnawgriff. Imagine this, a tiny, fey, muddy land shark with an attitude that can open its mouth a full 180 degrees so it can bite down and chew on anything that isn't nailed down. But mostly because they get really mad if they do eat any nails or iron in general. These gremlins chew apart entire buildings, but just enough so that they fall apart if someone steps in the wrong spot, or if they slam a door too hard. These tiny menaces can be the reason that buildings fall into disrepair, and also be why an abandoned village looks so bad that even scouting the area could be a mistake, as a building collapsing onto a player can be a death trap for many levels. So despite being a measly level 2 creature, these tiny assholes can be the reason your level 10 character gets trapped under a mountain of rubble simply because you are curious. Even if your party is level 10, fighting a ton of Gnawgriffs with their ability to eat rocks, it could be a race against time to destroy them all or be entombed by their insatiable hunger. And as a small being of destruction that they are, they have the ability to ignore rubble as difficult terrain, which is appropriate seeing as how much of it that they create. They have an ability called Lurk, which allows them to meld within the earth, stone, or a building to be extremely stealthy, and an ability called Wrecker, which for every Gnawgriff that uses their ability to eat rocks, the value of hardness drops by 1, up to a max of 10 hardness. So it behooves you to throw a lot of these at once at a high level. They can turn an entire village into Swiss cheese, and the fact that they transform the environment so drastically is what got these little buggers into the 5th place spot. In 4th place lies the dreaded Shredskin. This small undead flies around in search of the very thing that can fill the void within themselves, literally. Whether moving like a torn cloth or flying around similar to how a jellyfish swims, these terrifying creatures seek corpses or living bodies to enshroud and control like a puppet. If the target is alive, they best break free as soon as possible or be suffocated through constriction, which will slowly kill that target, allowing the Shredskin to have a very fresh, new body to walk around in. This thing can then control a living or dead body with ease, gaining temporary hit points depending on the size of the creature. And it is able to discard said body with a free action at the start of their turn to potentially take another, gaining even more temporary hit points, making even one of these versus a level 1 party terrifying to deal with. They have the ability to slip through an impossible to follow crack in a wall, glide through a cavern, and more for a quick escape to find a new corpse to utilize. Due to this ability, some necromancers could use these creatures as flags or even disgusting screaming robes that with a simple stitch pull could unleash their minions on a whim to terrorize a party or town. Which, chasing a Shredskin in a town feels like an impossible task to accomplish. So many fresh, weak bodies to take over and feel complete again with. So many ways to hide and escape with good acrobatics and stealth for a level 2 creature. The party will be hard pressed on how they will actually manage to corner this undead foe. In 3rd place, we find our first dragon-like creature in our top 5 list, the deadly Shadow Drake. Dragons and drakes are all dangerous, regardless of their size. But it's not the size that counts.
It's how you use it!
Whether it's a single foe or many at once, these house cat-sized drakes are some of the weakest of their kind, but that doesn't make them any less dangerous. They have decent stealth for staying hidden from the party to ambush them, but it's their reactions and shadow breath that really makes them a nuisance to fight. The shadow breath ability allows them to extinguish lights from a range of 40 feet, including magical sources like the light cantrip and ever-burning torch. This ability does an intense chunk of damage for a level 2 at 3d6 cold damage, within the 5-foot burst on a reflex save. But it's after the lights have all gone out that the Drake becomes a real problem. Darting around with a fly speed of 60 feet, with good melee attack options and a reaction called Shadow Evade, which requires the player make a DC 11 flat check to even land a hit on this tiny terror, which can happen twice if the Drake is in dim light. But just as the Drake hates light, it's weak versus the things that create light, especially fire damage. 2 or 3 shadow drakes in a large dark room or cavern can dish out hefty damage with their breath, but I feel these creatures are the kind that would only use their breath attacks if light was present, or as last resort, as Draconic Frenzy is still very much a thing that they can do and could deal far more damage versus the right opponent. And since these drakes are fairly intelligent, they work together as a team to deceive creatures, create traps, or to collect a small hoard of their own, which they would share, as making a hoard 1 coin at a time can take a while when you are so small. They slink about in a group, extinguishing lights, pilfering treasures, then making off like tiny little bandits, but they aren't opposed to outright killing their target for the meal and their coin purse as well. We've arrived to second place. Here we find the red-hooded Thatchling, which I should gloss over the standard version of one of these things. The Thatchling is a level 0 undead creature that, when it died, failed to reach the River of Souls. Denied a body, the spirit forces vegetation to become a new host body to house its soul. The red-hooded variant, however, occurs when the being died in great anguish, which is just the right amount of spice to turn a level 0 into a level 2 with all of the abilities added to this version. The abilities shared by both versions are an aura of 15 feet that reduces will saves by 1, Rejuvenation, which if the Thatchling is destroyed, make a DC 11 check and it could return in 2d4 days, and a Curse, which reduces speed, or on a crit fail, really hampers many survival skills. But the red-hooded version gets occult spellcasting, which grants illusory disguise, allowing it to go into towns and villages without too much concern of being discovered. Depending on who killed the original character or NPC that became the Red Thatchling, the party could be hired to stop it from seeking vengeance. But would the party side with the one who tortured the soul now trapped, or side with the undead who would spill as much blood as needed to find peace? The red-hooded Thatchling also creates spawns out of any humanoids it kills after just a few rounds, so letting one of these run loose in a populated area can lead to an outbreak of undead strawmen. Finally, it has the ability Howl of Vengeful Fury, which is a potent 30-foot emanation of 2d10 sonic damage on a fortitude save, while also giving Thatchlings in said area 5 temporary hit points and a +1 to their attacks and saving throws for a full minute. Being an intelligent undead that can enter a town, slay a bunch of commoners, raise them, all to seek vengeance against possibly the town's mayor, would be a compelling story for a level 1 party to accomplish as their first objective. Overall, I just love this thing's design and potential for storytelling. Mechanically, it's incredibly compelling for a level 2 foe, but it would need some scaling to be impactful at a higher level, but need very few additions to make it a challenging opponent. And finally, we arrive at our number 1 position. But before I unveil it, here are the 2 runner-ups that would end up at 6th or 7th place. The Mud Wretch and the Incutulus. Both of their links will be in the description down below if you are interested in them, as they were just barely edged out of the running, but are still great creatures to play with. But now, in first place, we find the Domovoy. This tiny fae is the caretaker to a well-loved home, and is classified as a house spirit. It has siblings at higher levels, both 3 and 4, which have their own established domains that are similar, the yard and storage areas. But the Domovoy is my favorite amongst them all, as it's this little useful guy that is relevant at levels 1 to 20 in your own player's home. Just keep them happy by giving this fae a bowl of milk, and they will stay at your place, keeping it clean and kempt without the party having to lift a finger as the Domovoy enjoys doing the work. Should you fail to give them their liquid stipend, and they may turn the home against the party until they right the wrong, as the party would not want to kill or remove this being as his benefits are far too great to overlook. The ability of note is called Master of the Home, which reads, a home with a friendly Domovoy is blessed, as the Domovoy cooks, cleans, fetches water, and does 100 other small tasks. A home so blessed never suffers from random accidents such as fires, and any checks to craft, earn income, repair, or subsist in the home receive a +2 circumstance bonus. If the Domovoy is unfriendly, such checks take a -2 circumstance penalty instead, as the Domovoy hides things, makes noises when people try to sleep, tangles weavings, and otherwise makes life a misery. A Domovoy must spend a week in a place before these benefits occur. This fae also comes with the spell Mending, which can be cast at will, and the Mage Hand, Prestidigitation, and Telekinetic Projectile cantrips too. The ability Home Guardian, which is using the house to deter criminals and unwanted guests by using household lore to trip, grapple, shove, and disarm instead of making an athletics check, which makes the Domovoy also a built-in home security device to keep out unwanted thieves, as it can turn the house into a weapon against whomever enters that is unwelcome, slamming doors in their face, making a pot fall on a toe, or have the carpet shift just a bit to trip the unwelcome visitor. And because they are shy, they are naturally invisible while within the home, and they can selectively choose to reveal themselves to a single individual, which can lead to NPC favoritism, or better yet, a conversation that looks like the PC is talking to a shelf with nothing but plates on it, making the party think, man, this one is weird. This NPC is someone that the party will get to interact with constantly if they are home, allowing for fun roleplay opportunities, and the bonus to doing their work and making money is a huge boon to any adventuring party who make coin on the side when they aren't questing. So if you are running a game and the party has a home, consider including one of these in their setting and see how the party handles their new guest. And with that, we have my top 5 level 2 creatures. Which one is your favorite? Would you have included the runner-ups, or a different level 2 creature entirely? Let me know in the comments down below, and while you are there, if you haven't subscribed or liked the video, perhaps give that a click too. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. But till then, may the dice be in your favor.